Hi, everybody. Welcome, and thanks for tuning in to episode 37 of the Heat Press for Profit podcast. My name is Dave with Stahls and Transfer Express, and I'm very excited for today's topic, utilizing heat transfers to expand your business. I'm a huge fan of custom transfers, specifically screen printed transfers. So today I'm joined by Bianca, owner of Busy Bee Boutique Custom Printing in Minneapolis, Minnesota, to chat about how apparel decorators could expand their services and print efficiently using custom heat transfers. I'm going to bring Bianca in here. I want to say thank you so much for joining me here today. As a believer myself in those Plastisol ink screen printed transfers, I'm really looking forward to diving into our conversation today. So if you want to start us off, tell us a little bit about yourself and Busy Bee Boutique Custom Printing.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I am Bianca. I'm the owner of Busy Bee Boutique, and I am a stay-home mom. I've been a stay-home mom for about 10 years, and I started my business during the pandemic, like I'm sure a lot of people did. I have four beautiful children and a husband. And while they are at school and he's at work, I am running my business from home. So that's a little bit about my business and how I got started. And like you said, I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
So you are a busy bee, four kids at home and working when everybody's out of the house, or sometimes probably even in the house.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
and so getting started during the pandemic, we saw so many different reasons come into play. And of course, the pandemic itself and being at home and being able to take control of stuff. But what kind of led you to the decision to open your own business?
Like I said, the pandemic started. My husband was working really hard and I was just home with the kids, and I knew that the kids would all be going to school soon, and I figured, hey, maybe I should start because I have little kids. Maybe I should start something to help with the bills around the house. So him and I had spoken about it. We purchased a heat press, we purchased the silhouette machine, and I just got on YouTube and I started just doing all my research, figuring out how to do it, and that's how it got started. I reached out to some family members. I said, hey, if you guys need any t-shirts printed, just let me know. Let me, kind of get my feet wet. And that's really kind of how I got started into it. And it was really my family that got me going, the support of my family.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. And getting that support from your local family, how have you kind of branched out from that? Like, what kind of customers are you serving now?
So now it's kind of a unique story what happened, because being that I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota, a lot of people would know that there was a lot of controversial things going on with like George Floyd and things like that that happened. And right when my business started, that happened. So there was a lot of rallies and protests and things that were going on, and people were just reaching out to me because they knew that I was doing shirts and I was printing shirts, and they were wanting shirts to say things and have messages and things. So I was just plugging away, and all of a sudden my business kind of took off, word of mouth. Everybody knew Bianca was printing these t-shirts, and through social media and things like that. So it really got to where I was able to build my business, but also gain the experience because I was just brand new. I'm working with vinyl. I'm really not knowing all about transfers or anything yet. And I was just plugging away, plugging away. And then, that was about 3 years ago. Now, today, I have kind of switched because of Transfer Express. And now my customer is more corporate clients, schools, churches, customers like that.
The local kind of community. But that's
The
awesome
local
to
community.
we
Mhm.
see that family being a big boost, and then like the social activism kind of playing a role. And that was such a crazy time looking back at the pandemic and everything going on. But using that as a learning experience is a great way to look at that. And you're kind of learning by real customer orders, so you need to make sure that you're reducing mistakes, and you're not kind of so many new businesses you learn by that experience. And with, I mean, in any walk of life, not just apparel printing, but with apparel printing, those experiences could get quite expensive with ruined garments and misprinted shirts, or customers who even more expensive. I always say, like, the ones that you could deliver goods to them and they seem excited at first and then they never come back, and you never know why. Like, so many, for every person who complains about quality or a missing shirt or something, I always think about the several that aren't saying anything and then they never come back for repeat businesses. So that's a great way to be able to really build a base of customers behind you for good cause, and then even now branching out. So was it, what kind of spurred the advancement out to the corporate and more community organizations and customers that you service? Was that just your capabilities that allowed for that?
I would say it came a lot of word of mouth. A lot of my clients that I was doing shirts for referred me, but I would have to credit Transfer Express with this because I was nervous. I was so afraid to jump in to bulk orders. I was only, doing kind of small time orders. The most I would probably get was about 20 shirts or some at a time. But the corporate clients, they were wanting like 100, 200 shirts. And I was just like, how am I going to be able to fulfill these orders with vinyl? Nobody wants to weed all of those t-shirts.
Hmm.
So I would say Transfer Express boosted my confidence in moving on to those corporate clients because, like, as you know, with vinyl, doing multiple colors, doing, multiple designs, you can't really do that. So I was very limited. I was
Hmm.
really limited until I discovered the transfers.
And
So,
so when we're talking about transfers, we're talking about screen printed goof proof
yeah.
transfers, or even direct to film, or whatever it would be.
Yeah, I started out with Goof Proof. I would say I have to admit I was so nervous to jump into it. I had to turn down a few orders in the beginning because I was just nervous. I didn't know how to, process the orders. I was afraid of the whole website and not knowing how to actually use the designer and everything. But I have to credit also Transfer Express's customer service helped me. They walked me through every step of the way. And as soon as I was able to submit my first order, it was smooth sailing after that. It was like, okay, my confidence went through the roof. I said, I can take these. I used Goof Proof to start out with, and then I started using UCM.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
Ultracolor Max. Yeah,
Ultra Color Max, definitely for those high color counts. But I
yeah.
have to say, in my experience, I absolutely love the plastisol transfers. They kind of converted me because I came from the screen printing background. So I learned how to screen print on my kitchen table way, way, way back in the day. And it's just so much of a hassle. It's just a crazy hassle with the inks, emulsion. And it took me weeks to be able to get that retail ready print. But you could, you know, as soon as you get kind of that learning curve down and you get over that first order of like, wow, this is actually incredibly easy, I was able to print this super fast, and then it makes those 100-piece orders feel a lot smaller and a lot more manageable for a one woman shop like yourself,
Yes,
which is
that's very true.
that it's such a great story. And you mentioned you started with a heat press and a
Mhm.
silhouette. You were using
Yeah.
some heat transfer vinyl to start.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, we've seen this story kind of time and time again. We just put out the heat press transformation out on Stahls TV YouTube channel, which uh, Justin, who has this huge shop, at 20,000 some square foot shop, a whole bunch of employees now, started in a living room with, I think, a silhouette cutter as well
Mhm.
and a heat press. So like seeing how this could be this start as a low investment. I know there was all that uncertainty during the pandemic where it's like, when is the paycheck coming? When is there going to be when could we go back to work, even for some
Right.
people, where kind of you don't want to make that huge leap into purchasing $10,000, $20,000 worth of equipment that
Right.
you don't know if there's necessarily a customer base to support that. So
Mhm.
do you still use those same materials that you got started with?
I do. I still get the smaller orders. I still get the family, members who want a couple shirts here and there. So I do still use vinyl. I don't think vinyl will ever go anywhere, even although, I mean, transfers is just it's so easy. You don't have to weed anymore.
Hmm.
And, it's just so much more efficient, so that's what I prefer. But I
Yeah.
definitely, I also do sublimation. So that's something else, but it's very limited.
Hmm.
And, there's not really much you can do with sublimation on t-shirts.
Yeah, unless you're very limited by the polyester or
Yes.
light garments. And yeah, I was browsing your website, busybeecustomco.com.
Yeah.
And it looks like you kind of have a good collection of like online stores. So, uh, are you producing garments on demand with heat transfers? Because that's a huge benefit to be easy, like to scale printing from one piece to multiple pieces on demand with almost any artwork with heat transfers, or those like orders that come in all the time. So, tell us how you kind of started doing that, and how heat transfers kind of really help support the workflow in that and make it efficient for you, as a one woman shop.
Right. So yeah, I would just, for example, this past month was probably my busiest month in the last 3 years, and
Awesome.
it's like super busy. Um, it's because of I've gotten used to the flow of the transfers, and I would say once you find your flow, it's so easy. You get the order from the customer. The customer will say, "Hey, I'm gonna send you my design. Can you print this on 100 t-shirts? We want white t-shirts, black t-shirts, whatever." My confidence is through the roof now because we have transfers that can go on all color t-shirts. I'm not limited. So once they submit their order, I'm able to put my order into Transfer Express, and the transfers come to me, and I just press it. I don't have to weed. I don't have to do any ink mixing or anything set up. I don't have to do any of that. I just cut them if they need to be cut, and heat press it onto the press, and that's it.
Real easy. Now you talked
Really
about
sim-
kind of cutting them out. The one thing I love about Plastisol screen printed transfers is the ability to gang sheet these orders and
Yes.
be able to put tons of, uh, you know, branding if it's your own inside neck labels or any left chests on there. So, how are you commonly using gang sheets? Are you splitting them across customer orders if it's just like, oh, white ink for this customer, white ink for this customer, as like the most common ink color printed on any t-shirt?
Right.
Or are you doing any of your own inside labels or anything like that on these gang sheets?
I do. I have my own brand. It's Get Busy Apparel, and I've done my own neck labels. And I usually use the UCM for those, which is great. They wash great. I haven't had any problems with that so far, and so I really love it. It's easy to apply. I have no issues. So, but yeah, I also whenever a customer contacts me with their logo or with whatever they want on the shirt, I will put the front and back. If they have a back, I will put the front and back on the gang sheet, and it usually fits. It
Hmm.
usually will fit in there, and so I can just cut them out when they get here. And that's why I feel like it's even cost effective, because you can get the whole shirt onto this one gang sheet, and you don't have to pay these separate prices for just for one shirt.
Yeah,
So
and definitely when you're doing that, splitting the cost and lowering, you said cost effectiveness, for you as a decorator and our
yeah,
audience out there listening, that when you could lower that cost, that's either growing your profit margin then, because then you're
right.
charging that same amount, or it's even then lowering the cost for your customer to help you be more competitive against, I mean, in Minneapolis, you're in a fairly major market where I'm sure there's a lot of other custom decorating places, but then the quality or the service, the cost, the turn times that you do is what sets you apart. And then you have a nice referral based kind of word of mouth business that really supports you. So that's fantastic to hear how it went from, such a kind of, I don't want to say manual process with having to weed vinyl, and it's great for that quick turn and the
Right.
personalization. Do you use vinyl for any effects or anything like that still?
For any of sometimes for like glitter
Hmm.
vinyl and stuff, I do. I have a little cousin who plays for Nebraska football, and and a lot of times his mom is always, "Can you put glitter on these jerseys, or can you do?" So I definitely still use that, like the glitter and vinyl. What is it called when you're layering? Yeah, I do a
Hmm.
lot of layering still with vinyl. So
Yeah, but that's something that, in those multicolor prints with either custom transfer like direct to film, like the Ultra Color Max, or even Goof
mhm,
Proof when you have those multiple colorways or
right.
multiple colors in your art, where it just kind of reduces that step and really speeds things up for you. So, one question that I have for you
Okay.
is, if you could go back in time
Okay.
and tell yourself one thing when you were just getting started, what would that be?
Have faith. Believe in yourself, because I was really nervous in the beginning. Like I said, everything went pretty fast when I first
Hmm.
started the business, and so it was just a complete learning curve. I ruined a lot of t-shirts. I had to throw out a lot of t-shirts. Um, and so it was kind of discouraging in the beginning. But once you do it over and over again, and once you talk to some people, customer service, YouTube, I watch you guys' videos all the time. I am like a loyal subscriber. I watch all the videos on how to apply this and how to use that. I can't wait to get a Hottronics machine. That's my goal. So yeah, I feel like if I could give myself some advice, it would just be have faith in yourself. And it's
Hmm.
okay to make mistakes. It's okay. Just make sure you have good customer service, make sure you're honest. Um, and just be honest with your customers and transparent, and you're gonna be good.
That's fantastic advice, because that is something that I hear from so many decorators who are like, "Well, I bought a Cricut or I bought a Silhouette and then it sat in the box," or I bought a heat press, but it sat in the box because
Mhm.
I'm nervous to pull it out. What am I going to ruin something?" But what there's that old saying that's like, there are no mistakes if you are learning from your
Exactly.
experience. Where yes, I may have ruined a shirt, but how do I not do this again?
And it's fun, and have fun with it. I would say just kind of have fun with it. um, Use your family and friends as just kind of guinea pigs. Make some shirts for them. Order the Transfer Express. They have this marketing box. I remember getting that at first, and just having these samples where I had the goof proof and I had the numbers and different things. So I was printing that just to test it out and see how it worked.
Hmm.
And then I was like, okay, well, now I'm familiar with the different types of transfers. So now I feel more confident to be able to order them and use them with my customers.
Yeah, and I've heard very similar things about like the marketing kit, where it does help you feel like a pro, because then you
Yeah.
could show off these designs, you could show off the quality and have confidence to talk about it and set those clear expectations for customers. I
Mhm.
always go like in the especially custom world, uh, it's, customers have to trust decorators so much because they're going to give us a pretty good chunk of change to
Yeah.
bring their idea to life, and their idea is in their head. So like that, if it's through that mock-up stage, if it's through if you're doing custom designs for your customers too, where it's like you have to be in communication, you have to understand what they want, and then when you bring it to life and it just wows them, like that's one of the most fun
Right.
parts for me, where that's like that really fills the cup up. We have Ree here on YouTube saying mistakes are lessons for the future, so that's definitely uh, a very, very true statement here.
Mhm.
Was there a certain point, or like it just like kind of immediate when you started using transfers, that you're like, wow, next step unlocked? That like, did you see that potential in your business, or were you searching for something when you were using vinyl? Like, how, as one person, how could I increase my throughput, or there must be an easier way?
Well, yeah, that's true. But then I also I'm kind of one of those just do it people. I
Hmm.
throw myself into the fire, and a customer order came. It was actually a big corporate client. That was my first one. It was a corporate client. I said, I have to impress this company because it's big and it's my first one, and it's just me. I'm just a small business. Um, but this is a game changer. So I got on transferexpress.com. I called up customer service. I said, hey, I have this really big, important um, client. I need your help. I need to know how to set this up. I need to know which transfers to use. I need to know the sizing, because that was another thing. You don't have vinyl, you don't have your cutter right then and there. So you don't know what size you need to put on the shirt. So I needed help with all that. And they were so helpful. I would never forget that, because I was just so extremely nervous. And that was it. I put my first order in. I got the transfers. It was perfect. I did my first shirt, and it was 100 shirts, and the customer was blown away. They loved them. This was last year. They hired me again this year, and
Awesome.
I was able to use Ultracolor Max this year for them, and they love those. So I mean, it was just really a game changer for my business. I would say that first order is what just kind of set me off. I said, okay, I can do this.
This is the way.
This
This
is
is the
it.
way to do it. And
This
you
is it.
mentioned
I can do it.
you mentioned the customer service and even like YouTube videos helping out too, which like that is something that at least when I started decorating, there was some videos out there, but definitely not the breadth of information that's available out there now. So that would be one thing too that like if I had to start over now, that like I would really heavily rely on those resources. And that's one thing that I'm very proud of, to be in this position to talk to decorators just like you and share all of these experiences that I've had over the years, to be able to, you know, ha- try to not make the same mistakes that I have over the years.
Right.
So yeah, that's a great story to hear. So essentially, once you got that first order, you're like, this is it. The floodgates opened. I am limitless to my capabilities.
I did, because it was 100 shirts and it was just me. And I was just like, can I really knock out 100 shirts? And it was so easy that it was like I could knock out 200 shirts, 300 shirts, and I just really started, the wheels started going,
Hmm.
and I said, I can do this. So based on that order, I was able to structure my business to where, oh, I know I can scale this now, even if I'm just by myself. I just got another order done yesterday, 110 t-shirts front and back, using goof proof. So
Awesome.
I'm able to knock those out. I got another one on the way. I just submitted another order, so I'm just
You're
running
busy.
busy. I'm busy bee is what they call me. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, because then once you get them, once you get those orders kind of flowing, and you could
Yeah.
handle them and they work in, that's great. What would you say your kind of average turn time, or not turn time? What's your average turn time and your quantity that you're producing? Because you said 120, there were some 100-piece orders,
Mhm.
but then it seems like you're also doing a little bit of fulfillment, so it's the small quantity. So where would you say the average kind of fits with that?
So my turnaround time, I usually tell customers 7 to 10 business days.
Hmm.
Because it takes, you have, once you submit the order, they submit payment, then I submit the order to Transfer Express. Um, the transfers take, I think, a 2 day, it's 2 days to ship to you. So then I will get the transfers. And then from that time I get the transfers, it may take me a day to, get those 100 t-shirts done. I might, or two, because I'll split it up. I have my kids. I'm still a mom. I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm doing all those things in
Hmm.
between time. But yeah, so I can really knock that order out in about maybe 2 days, I would say, if I gave myself some time.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that is, I mean, how powerful you could be with a heat press from home.
Yeah.
Where 7 to 10 business days is probably going to undercut. I think 10 to 12 business days is pretty much the industry standard
Yeah.
of what
Mhm.
everybody's looking at now. Especially then during the pandemic, that pushed out to, I mean, even well into 2021, 2022, as we were tailing out, that it was still 3 weeks, 4 weeks for printed
Right.
apparel. So that's one way that you could really get in and be competitive. And I mean, with word of mouth advertising like yours, that's like, that is, I always say that's like the gold,
Oh yeah.
because then you're energizing your customers to be fans to then go advocate for you. And
Oh yeah.
that doesn't cost anything other than the cost of good customer service and
Mhm.
quality prints. Did you notice a difference in quality when you switched from HTV over to screen printed transfers or the direct to film transfers?
I did. I love it. It gives you that screen print quality that I was looking for. Vinyl is good. There's quality vinyls out there. So I
Hmm.
don't really knock vinyl. Definitely, there's quality vinyls. But I would say that for corporate clients, schools, people who really want those good quality t-shirts, they want the screen print quality. And I would have to say that Goof Proof knocks that out the box. I mean, it has a good feel to it. I noticed that when you press it, I mean, it's a lot more vibrant, I mean, it really has a good soft feel to it. Um, I prefer that now. I don't really
Hmm.
want to go to vinyl. I only do vinyl if I really truly have to because the quality is just so good.
Yeah, it has that. I mean, plastisol ink has been the standard for the printing industry for 60 years, some because it kind of moves with the fabric. It's nice and
Mhm.
durable and could hold up to laundering and wear, but it
Yes.
also like flexes and moves with the fabric that works really well. And like you talked about, there's good quality vinyl and there's let's say some poor quality stuff. And I think in some cases, like I've talked to $25 million print shops that are putting in that revenue a year, where it's like they even struggle with the connotation of heat transfer products sometimes because they've been
Mm.
their customers have been burned by somebody using a Cricut and some
Right.
terrible vinyl with an iron or something, and then that's just what they think it is. But using a heat press, using quality materials, that it kind of really changes that perception. And then yes, of course, just your story, very similar to mine in that same kind of parallel, where we look at like coming from that plastisol screen printing world, that transfers aren't going to be able to achieve that. And then the first time I peeled the paper on a goof proof print, I went, oh man, my entire life's been a lie up to this point. Why
Yeah,
was I
because it
doing it
looks
the
just
hard
like
way?
it. It
Hmm.
looks and feels just like it. I mean, the clients, they don't know any different. They
Hmm.
think I am down, in some warehouse slaving with a bunch of inks and some machine that you spin around. I'm not. you
Hmm.
know. And so that's what makes me feel good and confident about my business and where it's going, is because now I have something just as good, just as quality, and probably more efficient, effective, and I can get it done faster
Without employees or without,
without
I mean,
employees.
when the kids get old
Oh,
enough, I'm sure you'll get plenty of them, right?
oh, yes, that's my goal. That's my goal.
Get them in it and have them running shirts or folding shirts
That's
or
right.
uh
I have my daughter right now. She's 12. She helps me out.
could put them to work. But yeah, just seeing the solutions that are offered from a heat press, because then you mentioned some effects with vinyls, the one pieces, the two pieces, the bulk runs that are with screen printing, or the direct to film transfers that allow you those higher color counts, and then even sublimation. You're running all of these different kind of facets, and it looks like you even do like hard goods too, whether it be like the mugs and stuff. So kind of, yeah, when did you bring those on? Was that kind of near the beginning as well, or was that a
Yeah.
service that you've kind of added on as you've grown and your customers have asked for more things, and you're like, well, let me put it on the store?
I would say about my second year of doing this, I started sublimation. So I started learning all about that, and I learned how to print the mugs and custom pillows. That was probably my biggest seller, were the mugs and custom pillows, for like memorials and gifts.
Hmm.
So I didn't want to, get rid of that aspect of it, even though sublimation is a little limited with the t-shirt printing. But for when it comes around Christmas time or holidays, people love custom products. So, yeah,
Hmm. Get you even more busy than you are right now. So
more.
we are coming up on our time, and we'll have to stop here today. But before we take us out, one last question for you. What are you excited about coming up, or you know, what's next for Busy Bee Boutique?
Well, what's next for me? I'm in a business program right now. I'm really excited about that. It is helping me really get my business to where I want it to go, which is into a location. I want to get out of my home and I want to get into a location to where I can take bigger orders, bigger customers, and then also start teaching. I want to start teaching, at like schools and with students to kind of help them learn how to create their own t-shirt line or something like that. I grew up in the north side of Minneapolis, which is the inner city. So I would really love to go back to my old high school and possibly show those kids how to start this kind of business. So yeah, that's really what's next for me.
That's awesome. We hear of so many like entrepreneurship programs that have made such a large difference in empowering kids to like, look, you can do it. You don't
Mhm.
need a whole bunch of investment capital. You
That's
don't
right.
need all of this space or this equipment. And just showing, I mean, even kids as young as like middle school. My wife's a middle school teacher, and like showing them how it's possible and how they could get involved and use this creativity for a business and generate some revenue, or even if they want to sell some t-shirts to their friends to start, like it's a great way to get started. Bianca, thank you so much. I
Thank
love this
you.
story. We're gonna have to connect back and in a little bit and see this growth that you've had over the past 3 years. I mean, I'm excited for you for what the
Thank
next three are coming. I know that like business side of things is tricky for a lot of people. That's awesome that you're being proactive about it and kind of learning, because I know like taxes are always the
you.
worst thing.
Yes, that's the hard part.
We get into t-shirt printing because we love the art of it, or the fun creative outlet that it is, not
Right.
necessarily because we have to crunch numbers for Uncle Sam.
Right.
So oh, too much fun. Bianca, thank you so much for taking time
Thank
out of your busy
you.
bee schedule to
Thank you.
to share your story with me and the rest of the audience that we have here. We see. I just want to showcase some comments that we have from Facebook. Patrice Williams, love vinyl for small orders, transfers for bulk. Exactly mirroring the kind of stuff that we talked about here. And yeah, other people coming in. Patrice also said she loves the marketing kit there from Transfer Express. So happy that it could be a huge, boost in your confidence level in the services that you could offer your customers, and really, really hit it. Ree here asked, could you give that website again, Bianca? Would you shout out your website that you're running?
Sure, it's busybeecustomco.com, and you can find me on social media at busybeecustomco.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much again.
Yeah.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us here today. Thanks for listening to the Heat Press for Profit podcast. We hope to see you next time. And here at Stahls, we always aim for these podcasts to inspire new ideas, to help decorators learn, connect, and reach their own success, just like Bianca here. But until next time, I'm Dave. Happy pressing.
Thank you for having me.